Hi everybody. This is the second book from the video book series, Trials and Testimony, the Book of Rob, Trials and Testimonies of a Blood-Bought Saint. This chapter is entitled The Hand of God. So I'll start it off with so I didn't really know God. Like if you watch the first video, like I said, I never equated that to God. I equated to like being more self-aware, or I just had come to that conclusion on my own. And so years go by. I'm an adult now. I'm in my own apartment, and so what would happen is like when I would date women, even before then when I would date women, because I was very insecure, and then I had insecurities and low self-esteem. I had a lot of issues coming up, and so a lot of this hindered my dating, me dating the way I wanted to, because if a woman was clearly attracted to me, I could see if they were staring at me and wanted to talk to me. I just couldn't pull the trigger. I couldn't. They would have to initiate it. Once they initiated, I was able to talk, but I could not get a mumbling word out of my mouth if not without great strain, great strain. I had to really psych myself up to do it. It was like a really difficult thing. So what I would do is I always, I would make sure I dress nice, wore cologne and things like that, so women would approach me. The problem was that the ones that would approach, were attractive, or not, it was just like they were nuts. Yeah, I mean, they weren't nuts. It was damaged was the word I'm looking for. Damaged. It was, I ran into it where this guy is nice. This guy is nice. Where it was like all into each other, and I'm thinking that we moving on a relationship, because I never wanted to be the guy that ran around. I was like, after that whole thing where I learned the understanding of do on the others as you have them do on you, was like, I don't want nobody cheating on me. So I can't cheat on anybody. I don't want to make anybody feel this way. And that was engraved in me. And so it changed my whole thought process. So when I would meet women, it was like, and then you bought me something, I bought you something. You treated me, I treat you. I made sure I was like, I'm not going to be outdone in this relationship. I was like, I'm going to treat you as well as you treat me. Even if it was a great strain on me, I'm just like, we in this, that's what I'm doing. But when that would happen, it would be like, oh, this guy is nice. Oh, okay. Basically, I get put on simmer while they go do their stuff, and it was like they would try to keep me on a string to where they didn't want me dating, and it just kept happening where they didn't want me dating anybody, but they would go out and date, and I'm just like, I don't care. It's like, we can keep it casual if that's what you want, but it was like, nope, you're gonna stay here on the side where you're good. So when I'm ready to settle down and get married, you'll be here, but right now I'm gonna go do some thought stuff. And I'd be like, is you crazy? They was like I was simping on them or something. Like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna sit here and wait. Like, no, get the frick on. No, I have to deal with this nonsense. You're not gonna treat me that way. And that's just what it was. And it was like, so I never wanted to be that kind of guy to sleep around, but it's like, if you just keep meeting women like this and you have sex with them, you're just gonna keep having sex. It's like, oh, they start acting weird, and then you move on to the next, and it's the same thing. And then next thing, that's what you are sleeping around, even if you with no intentions of it. But anyway, so one of the things that started happening was, it's like when I just gave in and just whatever it is, what it is, it was just sex, just sex. I would feel really bad afterwards, really convicted. I remember like moving to the side of the bed because I thought I was about to start crying. And I didn't want them to see. And I didn't know why I felt so bad after. I was just like, I just knew it's like, this ain't right what I'm doing. This ain't right. I didn't know why I thought it was right. I call it conviction, but I didn't know it was conviction at the time. You know, I didn't know that I was grieving the Spirit. Didn't know it. I never understood any of that. I just know how I felt, and then know what, and so as time went on, because I kept feeling like that, I was like, this ain't right. This ain't right. And I made the decision I'm gonna start going to church. And so there was a church right behind my house, and so I started attending that church. It was a old Southern Baptist church, man. It wasn't. I didn't learn a lot in there. It was just when I was younger, me and my mother would take us to church. She took us to Southern Baptist Church, and and if you know about them, it's I like being entertained there, because I didn't understand. I was supposed to be learning and growing in God. I just was like, I liked when he got into the hooping and hollering, and God said, and God's gonna do it, and He's gonna work it out for you, and then the Lord, when they did that, man, everybody would get up, be like, yeah, and so I got up with them, be excited, and then because you knew the music would come afterwards, and they started doing it, and you start seeing everybody dancing, doing the church dance, and I was the same thing every time, and that's all I would wait for. I mean, I would go for the service, but I liked when that would go on because, I just liked it. I was like, this was fun, And so I would be in there for a while and I'd go faithfully, and then I would fall away and I start like messing around again. But, and it was like that, and then feel convicted and go back to church. And it was like that for a while. And then, one day I had went back. I was just sitting in the church and he was teaching. And I was like, and I was somewhat familiar with the Bible. I had read the New Testament, bits and pieces, some of the books. I haven't, I known about it, but it was like, the book. But back then, Bibles were everywhere. You went to a hotel, Bibles were there. Like, it was common. Now they've removed that. It's not like that anymore. Bible. Everybody had a Bible. People who went to church or not, everybody had a Bible. Had a Bible in the back window of the car, on the front. People just carried them, because it was religious, and so everybody had it. So I would read it from time to time. When I mean time to time, I mean every so often. I would look through it and, try to read. So I was familiar with some of the stories, and so when I was sitting there in church, and I was like, wait a minute. In the Bible, Jesus, and his people, they cast out devils and they healed the sick. Why are none of these people doing it? And from now, when I asked that question in my head, I was just like, I was done with church after that. I was just like, if this is real, then they're supposed to be doing this. So why aren't they doing this? Or why isn't this happening now if this is real? So I was like, well, maybe this isn't the way, I'm guessing that's the conclusion I drew, that this Christianity might not be the way to God, and so after that, that started my journey of building God in my head as I thought He should be, which a lot of people do. That's why you get people praying to the universe, yeah. And believing that the universe is doing something, and it's not. But that's what I did. I was like, well, God would want us to do this, and God would want us to do that, and I was basing this off of my own understanding and my own morality, and so that's how I began to live, and then I would still go through these fits of conviction. So. Where I would just stop having sex. So this one period of time, and when I would stop having sex, it might be for like weeks or a month at the most. But this one time I got convicted, and it was like 4 months. It was like 4 months I had went without sex, and I was just so keyed up that I couldn't take it anymore, and so I said, I'm about to get in my car. So we didn't have dating apps. It wasn't so easy to meet, women. Like, what you did is, like, you um, you would have to go out and talk to people or approach women. There's no app and friending and, flirting through messaging and all that stuff like they did now. You would have to go out and meet people, which was not my strong suit. But at this point, I couldn't take it anymore. And it's like, if she's willing, I didn't care if she was a cyclops. It was going down. I was just like, I can't take it no more. So I got in my car and I went driving. And I was like, I didn't care what she looked like. If she, if I could talk up on it, I was bringing her back. And she was willing to go. Even if I had to work, like, even if not even the first day, but just like, I just needed something, a target. I just needed a target to start something. But so, anyway, I'm in my car and I'm going, and generally, like, if you doing that, like, the poorer the neighborhood, the more likely you used to find loose women. Women that'll just be able to, that's just willing to, like, off rip, especially if you had a car, So my dumb self, that's what I did. I went just riding down some, looking, see who out. And one who not to the pretty ones, not the ones that somebody who would just like, I'm doing them a favor. That's how I felt. Don't judge me. I was messed up back then. That, she looking like, okay, this chick ain't gonna give me no problems. That's what I was looking for. I'm not even gonna lie. I was just like, I wouldn't probably want somebody I wouldn't probably want my friends to see me with, but whatever. I was doing what I felt I had to do at the time. So I went out, but as I'm out and I'm driving, and I'm like, I knew I shouldn't be doing it. I knew I was like, it just hit me, I shouldn't be doing this. And I said, God, I said, I know I'm wrong. I said, I know I'm wrong, but I just need you to bear with me. And then and right after I said that, I felt a hand on my back, press in on my back while I'm driving. And it scared me to the point I started turning around, looking in my back seat, like is somebody in my car? But even as I'm turning around looking, I still felt the hand on me. And if I was smart, I would have turned the car around right then. But I wasn't. No, my dumb self was like, what the freak was that? What is going on? I'm trying to figure out. And then the hand goes away. I'm just like, well, that was weird. Back on my mission. So I should have man, really dumb. It could have went so bad, but didn't work out the way I wanted to. I thought, I would be able to find someone, hopefully, if not, to take home, to get a number and call them and convince them maybe in the next couple of days to come over or whatever. And what happened is some dudes in Chinese masks ended up running up on me with shotguns and robbing me. So when they did this, when the hand was on me, I didn't know what was going on. Immediately when I saw them and immediately they got the guns in my face, I knew what the hand meant. It was like, you need to learn a lesson, but you're going to be okay. I had perfect peace. I wasn't scared of anything when they had the shotguns in my face. You were like, oh, you scared? I wasn't. I had perfect peace because I knew what it said. It's like, you should have took your butt home. When the hand was on your back, you should have turned that car around and went home. And I didn't. So, it was a humiliating situation because I was being berated because, I only had like $13 on me. And then the guy was like, this is all you got? Imagine being robbed and they're upset because you don't have a lot of money. I'm like, I got an 85 Crown Victoria, man. It's rusted out, Wasn't rusted out, but it was like the paint was all faded on it and the dash was splitting apart. It was like full of, it was like the foam dashboards back then. It was all damaged. I'm like, you see, did I look like I have? Did you look at me and think, oh man, yeah, this is a lick here. This is, no, I didn't. He was like, nah, I had nothing. You know, he looked in my car. I'm like, I got nothing for you, guy. It's like, man, yep, you pretty much got you some snack money from me. You know, that's all. But end up leaving. I got in my car. I drove home, and I went another 6 months without sex. And I say that because, like, this is the thing, like, you can know, and that's what I'm saying, like, the flesh, without Jesus, without God, you can't, it is your master. You can want to obey God all you want to, but that flesh, you sitting long enough, it's going to talk, and it talked. It talked. I didn't sit there 6 months like, oh, this is easy. No, man, I was like, oh my God, man, this is horrible. I was so, like, man, be watching rated R movies, still masturbating and stuff. But it was like, it just couldn't. It's like I couldn't shake it. It was just like, I need sex. And it was like, man, I couldn't. I'm like, go figure, like the pornography didn't make me, at the time, it wasn't making me feel bad. But it was wrong. But I understood. I understand now what God was trying to say to me. Me continuing that life was going to start me on a course that was going to deter from the path that he had for me. And that's why he was trying to stop me. See, his whole plan was to lead me to salvation. But me doing what I'm doing, I could have ended up with a kid. I could have ended up catching AIDS or something like that, I could have deterred my whole, anything could have happened, But this was God steering my path, and I didn't know it at the time. But, and that's the thing, that's the main focus of this. It's like, what I want you to see is like, God didn't just make in one attempt say, hey, you come to me. No? Okay, move on to the next. No, man, these are years passing in between these situations. And it was just, after a while, once I finally gave my life to him and I spent time with him, I was able to look back and say, this was you, this was you, this was you, that was you, this was you. You were trying to get me that whole time, and you never gave up. Man, you were trying to get me when I was doing this. Ooh, you saw that? You were trying to get me when I was thinking this. Man, you were with me then? You saw that? Man, that's humiliating. God, you were with me and I was still doing this stuff? Man, the porn I used to watch, man, you saw that? And I'm like, I understand like what I put him through. But he did all that because he wanted me. He wanted me saved. If he didn't want me, if there wasn't any consequences to this, there would be no purpose in him doing what he did for me. But he understands, and now I understand how bad the consequences are. He was just like, I don't want you to go. I don't want you to suffer these consequences. See, we want God to erase the consequences of our actions, which he does when we give our life to him. And that's the thing. You're giving your life to him so that you can spend eternity with him. You're laying down this life for an eternity. If you refuse to lay down this life, you don't spend eternity with him. And there's only two places you can go. Hell was never designed for us. Hell was designed for the devil and his angels. And so that's why Satan works. The worst thing he can do to God is to take as many of us as he can with him. And he say, and how can he do that? To get us locked out the house. If he punished the angels, his first creation, for disobedience and rebellion and for doing what they want, for Lucifer trying to start a second heaven, for angels coming down and having sex with women and making children that terrorize the earth, he punished them. He's like, they can't come back. It's like, you can't enter into here anymore. What makes you so special that you think that you'll be exempt from the consequences? He's a just God. That's why the Bible says the beginning of wisdom is the fear of God. It's not a fear of God like, oh, he's so bad, he's so mean. It's, he's going to do the right thing. He's going to do the just thing, not the right thing, the just thing. What is just? And he says, The just thing is try every which way I can to help these people. But if they refuse all that help, for the sake of those that did listen, that did take the help, I can't let these folk in. And that's why we need to be, that's what our concerns need to be. But I'm going to leave you with that. I thank you all for watching the Book of Rob, Trials and Testimony of a Blood-Bought Saint, The Hand of God, Chapter 2. Just want to shout out my sister Tori Christopher for her shirt, Let God Be True and Question You. You can go on her webpage under the same name or her Facebook page under the same name, or the merch from her. She's a good sister, minister to the LGBT community. This ends chapter 2, chapter 3 coming soon. Hope this blesses you all. I hope this pricks you in your spirit, and then this leads you, but it's many, many more stories. God bless you all. Thank you.